Okay, dude, back from church. Church was amazing today. I say that every Sunday or every time I go to church, but church really was amazing. Pastor Barnes, the title of the sermon was "When God Says No," and the text that he used was 2 Corinthians chapter 12, 7 through 10. And it was talking about how Paul was talking about the thorn that he had and how he prayed 3 times to ask God to take the thorn from him, and God did not. And so he was preaching about my phone that scripture, and he also made reference to 2 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 23, where Paul is saying, haven't I done this? Haven't I done that? Haven't I dealt with this and gone through this and that? And what's so amazing is he didn't bring that up when he was asking God to take the thorn from him. And when God said no, he didn't bring, well, I did this, shouldn't I? And the sermon was just amazing. Just a little side note that really, I know God was speaking to me, because before I go to church, I always pray and incline my ear to hear what the Spirit has to say to the church and what God is trying to say to me specifically. So what he said in that 11th chapter of 2 Corinthians was, haven't I dealt with false brethren? And if you've read my blog, my latest blog post, you know that that was something that I was dealing with. Being tricked and bamboozled and swindled and all those things by the wolves in the sheep's clothing. And that kept me from going to church. And then my pastor went on to say, we can't stop going to church. We can't stop doing what we're doing because of the false brethren. And that is so true. And I felt so encouraged that God had my pastor say that, because that for anything was for me. But he went on preaching about when God says no, it's because God has a plan, a purpose, and a will. And if we're asking him things that are not according to his plan, his purpose, and his will, he's going to say no. But even when he says no, that no is still in our favor. And when God responds to us, period, when we get any response from God, that shows his grace and his favor upon our lives. And I think that's so amazing, because I know as a single woman, and I see a lot of single women on Twitter that are tweeting about when they're going to get their husband, and I don't want to go another year without my husband, and things like that. But if God is telling us no, there's a purpose, okay? There's a plan, and there's a will that God has for our lives, and we have to be okay with that. Even when Jesus, he said, let this cup be passed from me. Nevertheless, at thy will. Regardless of what I want, God, I want your perfect will to be done, because we know that God cannot go wrong. We know that God makes no mistakes. So regardless of what we want, we have to be able to put that aside. We have to be able to abandon our will in exchange for God's will. That's what we should always want for our lives, is God's will for our lives, because he knows what's best for us. He knows what's around the corner. He knows what we need. We don't even know that. And that sermon was just so amazing. And I was like, Pastor Barnes, that was an on-time word. If anybody, for me, that was amazing. I thank God so much. It's amazing. Like, see how I ask God, give me a word, incline my ear to hear, and then he encourages me. I mean, God didn't have to do that, but he did. And he's just so amazing. And I just wanted to encourage someone out there. And it doesn't even have to be whatever situation you're facing. If God's telling you no, don't leave your job, don't do it. If God's saying no to a new job you are seeking or going for, that's okay, because God has something else in store for you. Something that's probably far better than what you can even ask or think or imagine. So I think that we have to, people make resolutions. I'm not one of those people that make resolutions, because I want to be constantly changing. I want to be constantly growing. I don't want to have to wait to a certain time of year and then do all of this and then be under so much pressure if I'm not meeting whatever resolution that I made. No, I like to go and grow as God would have me to, with the time, as things come at me. But I think that something that will be good for us as Christians is to realize that when God says no, this is what my pastor said. When God says no, he's saying yes. Don't make sense, right? When God is saying no to what you're asking for, what he's doing is saying yes to something better. No, you're not going to get that job right now. No, you're not going to get that promotion. No, you're not going to get that house right now. But I have something better for you. And we have to remember that as Christians, we're not seeking, or we shouldn't be seeking for material gain. We shouldn't be seeking for popularity and status within the world or within whatever platform or venue that we're in. We should be seeking things of the kingdom, things of God. We should be seeking his holiness and his righteousness and holding on to things like that, and growth, spiritual maturity, spiritual soundness, things like that. Those are the type of things that we should be asking God for and seeking for. Yes, hey, God, please help me get this and that. But we should be asking and things that have more value. And we all know that it's not in the materialistic and the material mindset that the world has tried to place on us. But so yeah, I think that we should be, I kind of did a blog post, if you read my blogs, God's protection in the form of rejection. It's something like that. I wrote it maybe about a year ago around this time, basically saying that it was in reference to relationships though, but if someone rejects you, that's God protecting you, because if you would have gotten into that relationship, it could have been something so ridiculous and so horrible, but God protected you by having that person reject you. So rejection is a form of God protection. And that's just like how what my pastor was preaching about. When God says no, he's saying yes. So we just have to hold on to that. And we have to remember that God knows what he's doing. He's in control. He is so mighty, so powerful. Oh my gosh, the Mind Boys at my church, they did a song and it was just amazing. But God is so powerful. And we have to keep that in mind, even when he says no, even when doors close in our faces, even when people say no, turn down, all those kind of things. Remember, God's no is a yes for us. In his sight, it's a yes, but it's good and beneficial for us as well. So I just wanted to come on really quick and share that. I'm so excited. Church was just so great. You guys don't even understand. I mean, if you're ever in the Orlando area, Macedonian Missionary Baptist Church is the church to visit. Pastor Willie C. Barnes, that man is amazing. Such a great honor to have God place me in this church under his leadership. I'm so thankful. I've grown so much at this church because of my pastor's obedience and then in turn my obedience. So I'm thankful. But yeah, I'm probably going to blog about this sermon today because it was just that awesome and just that relevant for me. And I know I'm not the only one dealing with things or going through things, and it could be relevant to someone else. So I'm definitely going to do that. My battery's about to die. That's why my sentences are like run-on sentences, and I apologize for that. So yeah, it's still a gloomy, rainy day in Orlando, but it's like sunshine to me because I'm so excited and I'm so happy with God's favor and his response to what I was praying for. So I'm so thankful, you guys. I'm really happy right now. It's a great day. But if you love someone, please tell them. Okay? I love you. Bye.